Problem with
the credibility.
Are you going to be serious? Josh, pot him down again. Josh, you're not going to talk over me. It's my show. It's not the trailer trash hour, okay? What that means is you don't get to talk. Josh is next up on PTL. What's up, Josh?
Yeah, Brian, I was wondering why Friday you didn't bring up one time the Genius Act.
Why would I have brought that up? Tell me.
That's something that is in politics. No one's talking about it, and it's
okay, so tell me about it. Why is it important? Tell me, why is it a good thing for America? What's in it?
Number one, it protects crypto. It ties it to an asset, to the U.S. dollar.
It protects Hippo? Is that what you just said? Oh, you said crypto.
Okay,
so let's talk about crypto for a moment, Josh. Does it bother you that Donald Trump is making billions of dollars off a crypto scandal? You seem to care so much about crypto, and call me crazy. You probably sound like a guy that voted for Trump, but that's okay. Let's talk about crypto. It sounds like something that interests you. Does it bother you that the guy that you support has a crypto scandal as president of the United States, and literally his family is making billions of dollars off of this crypto scheme while he's president? Does that bother you at all, or it's not a big deal to you?
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Okay, so I just want to get this right. The president of the United States in a crypto scandal, clearly in a scam, okay? The president of the United States in a scam, because that's what it is, making billions of dollars and enriching his family doesn't bother you at all. But you probably have a problem with Hunter Biden selling paintings, right, sir?
Obamacare was a scam.
How was Obamacare a scam when millions and millions and millions and millions of people across the country, it saved their lives, but you don't have a problem with Donald Trump literally making billions of dollars off of a crypto scandal, and you want to complain to me about Obamacare? You have zero credibility. What is your credibility at? A level 0. You don't have a problem with
the credibility.
Are you going to be serious? Josh, pot him down again. Josh, you're not going to talk over me. It's my show. It's not the trailer trash hour, okay? What that means is you don't get to talk. I talk when I want to, and if you're going to continue to talk over me, trailer trash gets potted down. That's your new name. We're going to call you trailer trash. Okay, Mr. MAGA trailer trash just said on this show that he doesn't have a problem with Donald Trump literally stealing billions of dollars in a crypto scheme, in a Ponzi scheme, where he gets enriched billions of dollars. But trailer trash on the line right now has a problem with Obamacare. Sir, are you as stupid as you sound? Really, seriously, how many teeth do you have, okay? Are you as stupid as you sound? How many relationships have you had with some of your cousins? Because frankly, sir, I don't have time for idiots like you. You call into the show and you bring up, oh, I love what Donald Trump did with this crypto bill. I love this crypto thing that he just, okay, do you have a problem with him making billions of dollars off of a crypto scandal? No, but let's talk about Barack Obama and how Obamacare was so terrible. Do you realize what a moron you sound like, sir? I guess that's my question for you. Do you realize how stupid you are? What is your IQ?
Are you going to have your parents pay for your dental work again?
You want to talk about my parents again? What did he say? Something about my parents? You notice how that guy's not capable of having a conversation? He's not capable. Dumbass calls into this show, or trailer trash, one or the other. All due respect to people that live in trailers, but this guy's trailer trash. Calls into this show. He has no problem with Donald Trump. No problem at all with Donald Trump literally stealing and making billions of dollars in a crypto scandal, but the racist piece of human garbage who probably is going to be at his Grand Wizard clan meeting tonight has a problem with Obamacare. But Donald Trump stealing billions of dollars in a crypto scandal, that's totally okay. Sir, I'm sorry, you got to have at least an IQ of 10 to call into this show. Have a nice day. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, that's the guy who's a January 6th insurrectionist. That's the kind of guy who believes in Pizzagate. That's the kind of guy who calls Joe Biden a pedophile. That's the kind of guy who is picketing outside of, a Target store because they sell LGBTQ shirts. That's the kind of guy who follows QAnon. This is what we would also call Donald Trump's base.
But mark my words, I've said it here before, I'm going to say it again. Iran is going to be all out to detonate an atomic bomb.
And you're right, Malcolm, it just makes no sense from the get. So the Trump administration convicted Ghislaine Maxwell, put her in jail for trafficking girls to nobody. I mean, for a hoax. I mean, yeah. All right. So let's. By the way, I just now that we.
Oh my God, I can't even believe he used that word, because now he has framed it that everything people have died, killed for, the woman who committed suicide. He's claiming every aspect of this is fake.
Yeah.
And that means he believes that MAGA is so stupid, they will buy into it now. He might be right.
Speaking of which, U.S. intel says only one of the Iranian nuke sites was destroyed. Was mostly destroyed. The two others not as badly damaged and may have been degraded only to the point where they can enrich in a few months, which is what the original assessment was that they freaked out about, right?
Yeah, and I was excoriated the first week after that by saying many times that we may have gotten the Isfahan Center. No, Isfahan. But that Fordow and Natanz may not have been badly damaged. These things were deep underground. Getting those centrifuges back online, all of this is almost fanciful at this point. We've even got a tie-in to the Epstein story here. There are people now saying that the initial release of information, with Pam Bondi and all that the Iran strike may have just been a great distraction. All of national security now is a distraction from the fact that Trump wants to keep this story off the books. So I'm not going to stop talking about it. Of course, I said that in the first week, that Iran likely retained much of its capability. But mark my words, I've said it here before, I'm going to say it again. Iran is going to be all out to detonate an atomic bomb as quickly as possible now.
So, by the by, I'm not sure, what it will take for veterans to finally, realize that Trump hates them. But you retweeted, cutting 30,000 VA jobs while vets wait longer for care is a disgrace. Nurses doing administrative work, claims denied, hospitals understaffed. This isn't saving money. It's failing those who serve. Veterans deserve better. America should do better. I mean, we're talking about the MAGA base cracking. The troops supporting Trump. I mean, I don't know what else he would have to do, right?
Well, you've got to see something. There are two different worlds we're talking about. The current active duty troops have a day job, and they're not thinking about politics most of the time. They're thinking about whether they're going to go to war, whether they're going to do their drills, all that. Set the U.S. Army aside. In the veteran community, there's two types. There are what we call the vet bros, who are all up MAGA, Tate supporting, burly, guys who claim that the only people who have any validity in the veterans world are those who were infantry and in combat, right? The other 1 million plus veterans to them don't matter, and they're all MAGA. They don't care about other veterans at all. You get guys like Fred Wellman, right? Fred Wellman commanded 3 platoons in his career, became a helicopter pilot, and has far more experience than Pete Hegseth does as the Secretary of Defense. And you got guys attacking Fred Wellman all the time. These guys who are going to lose their health care, lose services at the VA, these vet bros were the ones who were screaming about this under Biden.
Yeah.
And now that it's Trump, they don't care.
Yep.
They're hypocrites like all MAGA.
Let's just quickly touch on your latest book, They Want to Kill Americans.
Again?
Yeah, well, Covey says, are we just going to ignore that the Minnesota assassin who targeted and killed Democrats confirmed to the New York Post that he's a Trump supporter in an interview from jail? Well, we already knew that, but again, just gets washed out of the news cycle.
And, that's the responsibility of the news media. They, it's like until the New York Times did that deep dive, and some others did the deep dive on the Butler assassin last year. The news media, for some strange reason, are genuflecting very quickly, and they do not want to touch these stories. Are you aware that some professional snipers did a simulation of shooting Trump's ear?
Yeah.
And it should have blown a 2-inch hole through it?
Yeah.
Even if they missed closely, it should have caused a lot more damage. I don't know whether this stuff is true or not. I do know it's not in the news media,
Yeah.
they may put one boy,
Well, 'cause we-
junior boy reporter on it.
Because we've never
but
gotten
that'll
an
be about
honest
it.
medical assessment of Trump ever. And you can see
Never.
his ear. Clearly, it was
There's
not.
no freaking scar on that ear. I'm now in the I'm really suspicious camp.
Yeah, me
But
too. Me too.
same thing with the assassin from the assassin who killed the lawmakers. This guy's probably out there bragging. I wouldn't be surprised if he thought he's going to get a pardon from this.
Yeah. Yeah, and real quick, by the way, to your point, Harrison said, "Dear media, a story where the only information is Trump said that is not journalism, it's stenography. Checking to see
Right.
if what Trump said is true and then reporting the results, that would be journalism. And since almost everything he says is not true, you have lots of journalism you can do. It would allow your workforce to live up to the job titles they have. Try it sometime, it might catch on." I mean, I know it's so much, because everything he says literally is a lie, but
Donald Trump is the most documented liar in all of American history. And here's another little thing the media has let us down with. The Washington Post did that count of 30,000 or 33,000 emails in the first administration.
Lies.
And they won't.
Yeah.
And they won't do it in this administration. They stopped.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably closer to 100,000 lies in the last 10 years. And maybe we need our own liberal media project to document and make sure we know he's a pathological liar.
Yeah, we're doing our best. Okay, real quick, last thing, because we brought up the midterms. This does concern me. DOJ demands voter rolls from at least 9 states. Trump administration and its allies have launched a multi-pronged effort to gather data on voters and inspect voting equipment, sparking concern among local and state election officials about federal interference ahead of the midterms. The most unusual activity happening in Colorado, a state then candidate Trump lost by 11 points, where a well-connected consultant who says he's working with the White House is asking county clerks to whether they will allow the federal government or a third party to physically examine their election equipment. Separately, the Justice Department has taken the unusual step of asking at least 9 states for copies of their voter rolls. At least 2 have turned them over. 2 DOJ lawyers have asked states to share information about voters to implement a Trump executive order that would shift some power over elections from the states to Washington. What level of concern should we have about this, and what can we do about it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 23. Listen, the government has no authority in federal elections. How many times have you heard them say it's up to the states?
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands of times. This is the cusp of them centralizing a theft scheme. I mean, and I'm sorry, the way they've behaved is justify this. These people are out to retain power in any sense, and we should be terrified over this stuff. But then again, just put it on the list, right? We've got 400 other things to be terrified about.
All right. Well, that was uplifting. Thank you, Malcolm.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
Malcolm.
That's all the hopium I could muster.
All right. Love you. See you next week. Well, this is all too familiar to me, right? You wake up with a scratchy throat, congestion, maybe a runny nose or a cough. You know your body. You know you're getting sick. So your choices are you tough it out, you get sick, take time off from work, hope the doctor can see you this month, right? Wait 2 hours at urgent care, sit in a room full of other sick people, or you can open your medical emergency kit just like mine. I just match my symptoms to the doctor recommended prescription, start on the right meds, and I nip it in the bud right now. This is not a first aid kit. It comes with doctor prescribed meds to treat dozens of common and serious medical issues, strong antibiotics for infections of all types, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, bronchitis, and a lot more. Plus, a doctor's easy guide so you know exactly what to take and when. No waiting to see the doctor, no waiting at the pharmacy. All my meds are right here in my kit. Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in just minutes. Your kit will be rushed to your door. Get $45 off at urgentcarekit.com/Stephanie. The promo code is Stephanie. Don't forget promo code Stephanie at urgentcarekit.com/Stephanie.
And to really answer it, you have to understand there's sort of 2 Epstein stories. We'll call one of them Little Epstein story, and we'll call the other one Big Epstein story.
Is that like Little Elvis?
Little Elvis, Big Elvis. Little Epstein, Big Epstein.
Okay.
So Little Epstein is, I use the word little only because you'll see it in contrast to the other one. The Little Epstein story is the story we all know. It's terrible. A man and his associate groom and abuse what appears to be hundreds and hundreds of young women, including girls as well, underage girls. One of the most well-connected people in American life. All kinds of famous people have been in his orbit, been on his plane, been at his parties, including notably Donald Trump. And there were a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, what exactly was the relationship that a lot of these celebrities had with Epstein? Were they involved in any way with any of the sex abuse? How did he die? How would one of the most watched prisoners in America die by suicide? Like, there were legitimate questions to ask, but it's serious and it's bad, but that's little Epstein. The reason it blew up is because a lot of MAGA believes what you will call Big Epstein story. And the Big Epstein story is that Epstein is sort of the key that unlocks the global pedophile cabal that is running the United States, running our government, running our economy, running the world, globalist pedophile cabal. And that hidden in those files was sort of the laundry list of all of the worst people in the world, with names, dates, perhaps even pictures of the most grotesque misconduct. I've called this sort of like thinking man's QAnon, because whereas QAnon was rooted in just nothing. I mean, it was rooted in a guy who, anonymous person, claims security clearance and claims to have all this information that never really pans out. This was rooted in an actual real case involving an actual horrible human being, but then they just took it and ran with it. It's hard to overstate how much this was part of the MAGA zeitgeist. I mean, Patel, Bongino, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump Jr., all kinds of folks were running around in the 2024 election cycle promising the base that they were going to unleash the hounds, so to speak, of the Epstein investigation, and that when they did, it would bring everything crumbling down. And this got to why a lot of people support Trump in the first place. They believe he is the instrument of vengeance against this global pedophile regime. And if you think there is a global pedophile regime, well, then a lot of objections to Donald Trump are like minor stuff. I mean, I'm trying to take down a global pedophile regime and you're worried about hush money case. I mean, that would be kind of the way that they would think it through, to the extent they're even aware of the hush money case. But this was so foundational to sort of part of the MAGA base's view of the world. And then when the memo comes in and it tries to blow up the whole thing, they were not having it.
The DOJ memo saying, oops, we told you we'd have something, but as it turns out, no list, the dog ate it, whatever. Ali, you seemed like you wanted to... Well, let me actually serve this up to you, because on your show, you had exactly the sorts of folks that David's talking about. You have Megyn Kelly and Laura Ingraham and Steve Bannon. They didn't rev up the base. They just said, who believes this, who doesn't? And people were screaming on their own. And the number one thing here to me is, as David says, after scandal since January with trashing the Constitution, etc., Trump's MO has always been, I'll weather that as long as my base stays with me. This really seems to be something that runs deeper in big cohorts, at least, of MAGA than Donald Trump himself, and they're ready to throw him to the wolves. What do you make of this?
They're ready to throw him to the wolves until they're not, right? I mean, like, this is the most outward that we've seen people who are typically so willing to go along with him be able to say, no, I actually need more from you on this, right? He was able to, at a certain point, quell Charlie Kirk into not talking about it until Charlie Kirk came back and was basically one of the people pleading with the president, my God, please don't make me have to keep turning around and explaining this lack of transparency to the very people that came to me because of my proximity to you. And so I think there is so much frustration within here, but I actually think that the reason this is sticking so much is because it's the foundation of the wave that Trump was able to leverage in the first place, right? This mistrust in government that existed long before Trump and will continue to exist after him. That mistrust was only deepened by Trump fomenting conspiracy theories, much like this one, that made people believe in this global cabal that David is talking about here. And so Trump was supposed to be the person that came in and equalized the playing field for the everyman, who pulled the veil off of all the things that the government was hiding from them. And it turns out when you're the government and you get in there and you see what reality actually is, the government's actually not doing any of this stuff.
We've met the enemy and they are us.
Correct. And then you have to grapple with that, right? So you're looking at the consequences of their own actions. And I also think the financial piece of this is interwoven and important to talk about, right? Because MAGA became an ecosystem unto itself that has a lot of money running through it. When you're a podcaster like Dan Bongino, it's okay to traffic in what the algorithm wants to feed you. But when you are inside the government, and I remember watching him, as I think all of us did, when he was on Fox News, really seeming physically racked with the weight of the facts that he has since found out as deputy FBI director, trying to reconcile the fact that they talked about there's an Epstein client list, and Bondi goes on Fox and says it's sitting on my desk. And I think that's just one tiny piece of this larger puzzle that they have to figure out. Okay, we sold non-fact and outright fiction for so long that how do we now put Pandora back in the box? And you can't.
Tara, I mean, it's not only the MAGA faithful, even famous ones that we know. It's members of Congress. It's the Speaker of the House who seem to be trying to distance themselves from Trump here, or call for the release of this notebook, which we'll get to in a moment. What does that tell you about MAGA, not Trump, but MAGA's overall pool in the party, or at least in Congress? What do they fear more even than they fear Donald Trump?
Losing re-election.
Yeah.
I mean, their base, they know. Even Steve Bannon admitted to this. If only a couple percentage points of the MAGA base stay home, that Democrats could potentially win 40 seats in the House. So in their minds, for people like Mike Johnson, the speaker, they don't want to lose power. This is the pinnacle of their careers. And power is intoxicating and corrupting, unfortunately, in a lot of instances. So they're trying to thread the needle where they're hoping their careers outlast Donald Trump, who at this point, is a half a cheeseburger away from potentially meeting his maker at any point. So what happens then? And so they have to think they're playing the long game here. So they're trying to figure out ways to manipulate the news cycle and placate their base to make it look like they're doing something, like, we hear you, we're with you, we're outreached also. But then also they can't upset dear leader, because then he could make their lives difficult. And we've watched this pattern happen over and over and over again on a multitude of issues over the last 10 years with Donald Trump and the Republican Party, which is why the party is, the rot from inside the party is so great that it's destroyed any Republican Party that I was ever a part of. It's why I left it. But what's interesting about all of this that's different than other controversies, I think, that Donald Trump has faced, is that this is the first time where his BS hasn't been able to extinguish the firestorm. We're now going on over a week and it's only gotten worse. 2, he's changed his story multiple times in nonsensical ways, in provable ways that even his own base is going like, what? Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense, because of all the things that Ali and David just mentioned. Like, our own people said that they had the files. The client list was on the desk, on our own channels, the channels that we listen to and trust. So wait, it's not making sense. The math's not mathing here. So it's difficult for them to reconcile, because if they believe what Trump said, then that means that somebody was lying then, or are they lying now? It gets hard. The cognitive dissonance here is on overdrive for the MAGA base. And the other part about this, too, that's different than correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but has Donald Trump ever insulted his supporters as openly and deliberately and defiantly as he did this week, as the more and more he got pissed off that nobody was listening to him and making it go away? I don't think I've ever seen that not publicly anyway. We all know that how he really feels about his supporters in private. For him to call them stupid and weaklings and saying, I don't need your support anymore, and that weird, thank you for your attention to this matter. I don't get that.
That's true.
I mean, technically, I guess that's a good admission that he's not going to try and stay in office in 2028, but it's still early. I'm just saying, all of these things, all of these dynamics make for a very fascinating news cycle every single day. And the response that Donald Trump is having to this is only making it worse. And the damage control that some of his acolytes are trying to engage in now to try to flip this somehow to become the Democrats' fault. This is the Democrats that are doing this. It's crazy, right? Comey and Obama, and then it's the Democrats that are keeping this alive, when no, actually it was Byron Donald's own bill that wanted to release them. That's one of your guys, and it's your guys. It's the Republicans who are calling for this, so you can't blame this one on Democrats. So it's quite a mess for Donald Trump, and I'm not quite sure how it ends.
You're right, he's bobbed and weaved, but I think he's really completely staked out the position, for MAGA anyway, that this Wall Street Journal piece, which we're going to get to a moment, is 100% fake. And if it turns out not to be, he is in a pickle. I just want to double back to you, Ali and David, because when Ali started out of the box and said they're against him until they're not, you gave a pretty emphatic nod. So what are you thinking there in terms of the medium range consequences for Trump of this breach between him and his normally very loyal base?
That's a great question. I would say one of the things about this is the first time that Trump has lied to MAGA. Let me put it this way. Trump has lied to MAGA a lot. But always when Trump has lied to MAGA, he's told them what they want to hear. Mm-hmm. Okay? This is the first time he's lied to MAGA with something they don't want to hear. Right? And this is something that they're eager to believe that the election was stolen. They're eager to believe that there should never have been a Russian investigation. Those are things they want to believe. They're eager to believe is a perfect phone call with Zelensky. But they have been told by MAGA, that there is a list here and that this list will blow things up. I mean, you can go back and, look at the tail of the tape. It says everything. Now, this is where the cognitive dissonances come in, and this is going to sound strange, and I don't know if you guys are seeing this as well. I'm very curious if you're seeing this as well. In a weird way, as horrible as that Wall Street Journal report has been, it's kind of been a gift to Trump in this sense. It came from the mainstream media, and so he can immediately, regardless of the veracity of it, rally and say they're coming for me again. And so you've even seen some voices like Megyn Kelly, who'd been previously holding his feet to the fire, calling it BS and calling out the Wall Street Journal. And so,
but David, you forgot one important part here. The Wall Street Journal is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News. So there's always been that distrust between Donald Trump and Rupert, even though Rupert Murdoch and Fox have been basically made Donald Trump. But there has always been that little tension there because the Murdochs don't really like Donald Trump, and every opportunity they have, they try. If they think, oh, this is it, they'll try a little bit to go against him, and then they end up having to snap back because Donald Trump will threaten them and they lose their audience. So this is an interesting, other piece of this that people need to know. Yeah. And, Megyn Kelly also sued Fox, and, so there's some history there too. So just a little added context to that.
What a hornet's nest.
If you look at the Donald Trump Fox Murdoch relationship status on Facebook, I don't think they still have that anymore, but it would say it's complicated. Yes. Because they have carried his water massively before, and as you're saying, they have not. And so I have seen them use the fact that this came through the Wall Street Journal, came through Rupert Murdoch, to discredit it. Now, that's a very perilous position to take right now, but that's where they are.
Trump cost them a lot of money too. Let's not forget $787 million because of the election case with Dominion, and now there's still the $1 billion case with Smartmatic that is pending, all about the election lies, and Fox News is still going through this. So this complicates some things for them for that too.
We were talking about this on my show. Like, imagine saying to someone 10 years ago, yeah, a Republican president is suing Rupert Murdoch.
Right.
Like, what?
I want to make a few lawyers' points, and let me just make them because I think I have them in my experience. We don't have to discuss them, but take it from me first. This gambit of trying to go to the grand jury files that Comey, who was fired, might have had is totally bogus in the sense that there's nothing about them which she assembled in order to prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell, and only for that. And there's a lot left, and you want to